everybody. I am Jordan, your fairy godbrander. I have everybody muted. Anybody else who pop in, pop in. If you're friends who are trying to get in, you can send them the updated link. Let them know, hey, new link's been sent out, and they'll get that. And we are about to hop in and get started. So I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to get started with our presentation. Okay, so hi y'all, like I said, I'm Jordan, your resident fairy godbrander, and today we're going to be talking about optimizing your online presence and how I went from 3 to 5 figure months in less than a year. And so I would love if everybody in the chat could introduce themselves, let me know where you're from. If you're a business owner, that's probably why you're here, what your business is, what you do for a living, what your ultimate dreams are. I would just love to hear I'm an audience participation person, so lots and lots of audience participation will probably be required throughout this free training. Okay, so there are probably two main reasons that you all are here tonight. First being, you are consistently blaming the algorithm when you don't get the follows, likes, and shares that you're desiring based on your content. We all know that the algorithm is an ever-changing entity, and we have honestly no control over it. People who tell you they have control over it, people tell you they figured it out, gotten the tricks, in all honesty, just aren't being honest. It is impossible to figure out an algorithm that none of us are a part of designing. And the algorithm is intentionally designed to be hard to figure out and to increase people's engagement without any real way to control what's happening. Somebody just asked in the chat, will the session be recorded and sent to us? Yes, you will get a replay sent out after the session is over. And so one of the main reasons you're here is if you're consistently blaming the algorithm when you don't get the follows, likes, and shares. And after that, we ask people, if you're wondering if you're putting in all this effort for your business to go nowhere, and I know exactly what that feels like. I was there for the longest. I started being a graphic designer way back in 2017, launched my business officially in 2018, and for years was doing it thinking that I'm like, oh, this is some hobby, like this isn't gonna go anywhere. I'm never gonna be able to do anything with this. And it's a lot of effort. So quite frankly, I said, I'm finna get a regular job because I don't want to do this. Like, this is too much. And so you've generally been wondering how to clearly and concisely connect with your ideal audience members, how to quickly and easily create unique content that speaks to your audience, and most importantly, how to optimize your online presence to present yourself as an expert. Those are the main things that I know people tend to be struggling with. And so these are things that I've struggled with as a brand owner. So if you struggle with any of these things, drop a 1 in the chat. I'd just like to see if any of these resonated with you all. Okay, so we definitely have some 1s. So y'all are, if these are your feelings, you're in the right place. My ultimate goal for today is to teach you my identifying your ideal audience strategy that places you directly in front of your ideal audience members. So you're the go-to guy in your industry. You're the go-to girl for your products. You're the go-to girl for your expertise. You are the it girl or the it guy in your industry. And that is the ultimate goal that I am looking to teach you all. I also want to teach you my secret weapon to creating high conversion content that directly reflects the premium experience offered through your branding and working with you, and so you can decrease your workload. I know I personally do not, as someone who's even a graphic designer, I hate creating content, y'all. Like, I do not want to sit on the internet all day. I don't want to make graphics all day. And I make them quickly. I don't want to make reels all day. I want to create content that I can post less of, that has high impact and will actually connect with my audience. And lastly, we're going to talk about the common mistakes business owners often make that leads to low visibility, high burnout, so you all can stop wasting your time on methods that are outdated, hashtags on Instagram, and have low return on investment. And that investment is not only financial, but time. People often don't talk about the large investment that time takes and the large investment that time and money are. And so I'm going to be talking about how to actually get a better return on your time and money when you're building out things with your brand. So why does this matter now? Why is it important to you now? The right brand helps you stand out from your competition and helps your audience share your content because they can see the value in it. You can post content all day on Instagram, but if your audience does not find value in it, you will not stand out from anybody else. Your brand will continue to go under the back burners. You will continue to be exhausted by running your brand. And if you're like most people, you're probably going to want to quit. Like I said, if anybody knows me knows, up until recently, every 5 minutes, I wanted to quit my business, but we'll get a little bit more into my backstory in just a second. So I want you all to just sit there for a second and imagine if you had a business that was growing and bringing in more income consistently. Imagine what it's like to have a business that you can live off of, thrive off of, kiki off of, go on vacations off of, and not have to worry about your traditional 9 to 5, and not have to worry about spending all of your time chained to a desk. I know people, there's that meme that goes around all the time, and it's like, oh, I quit my 9 to 5 and now I work 24/7. Baby, that's not my life. I don't want that. I used to work as a hostess in a club, and I quit my job there because I wanted to work less hours, which means I needed to intentionally design my business and create a strategy for my business that kept me away from working crazy hours like that and kept me away from working all day. I didn't want that for myself, and I wasn't going to allow my business to become another job for me. And I also want you to imagine if you could easily and quickly grow your audience and engagement on any given platform, which means no longer relying on, okay, well, Instagram needs reels and TikTok needs this and Twitter needs this and LinkedIn needs this, and figuring out all these different tips and tricks and strategies for all these different individual social medias, when in reality, you can develop one strategy that works cross platform. So, like I said, before I go any further, I want to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Jordan, your favorite God brander, and I'm just going to give you a little bit about my background and how I got into design and doing what I'm doing. So this is me way back, I believe, in my sophomore or junior year of college. I was a baby designer. I had a baby face and a mouthful of braces, which I was not smiling, which is because of that reason. That is the first ever website that I designed for myself. I cringe looking at it now because I can't believe it ever looked like that. But I started designing as a hobby after my brother passed away back in 2017. And I was attached and addicted to my computer. I would not go anywhere without my laptop. It was like tethered to me. And because I went to an HBCU, I'm a proud Spelman alumna. I ended up being the go-to person for, I was making party flyers. I was making people's YouTube logos. I was doing a little bit of everything. I had my hand pretty much every graphic you saw on campus, every major thing. I got to design like a hat that Young Thug wore. I was just doing all types of design throughout my undergraduate career. And it was something I really, really loved, but it was never something I thought I could sustain myself in a career on anytime soon. And so I always told people like, oh, like maybe one day, like I'll be a designer like when I'm like 30. Like y'all, when I'm 30, I'm gonna start my own agency. I'm gonna have my own design business when I'm like 30. But I would never do it straight out of school. Like I don't want the stress of that. Like I could never do that. Like it's not possible. And then lo and behold, COVID hit in the midst of my senior year of college. Everybody got sent home, and all of the jobs, including my dream job at a major tech company, working as a creative marketing liaison, in a snap was gone. And so I'm sitting there like, well, like, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't have a job. I work at this restaurant as a hostess and as a server. I am tired of getting cussed out by customers, because if you know anything about working in the service industry, baby, customers do be cussing people out. I don't want to get cussed out by no more customers. I hate it here. And quite frankly, like, I don't know what the fuck to do. And as a disclaimer, I curse. So if you have children, put in headphones, please, because some curse words will come out in this presentation. But I was absolutely miserable, did not know what to do, and did not know what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I'm sitting there like, this isn't going to work for me. Like, I don't. And so while I was working my job, restaurants had started opening back up. You know, in Atlanta wasn't shut down for very long. Restaurants started opening back up. My job opened back up, and they were like, yeah, you got to come back. And so I was like, okay, like, I'm coming back over the summer. So all summer 2020, I'm back working at this restaurant, and I'm still taking design clients. I'm designing 15, 20, 30 hours a week. I got 15, 16, 17 different clients a month, and I'm just cranking out these flyers, and I'm cranking out motion graphics and these like cheap little logos, and I'm just cranking out work. But most importantly, I was exhausted. Like, I'm like, this is not sustainable. I cannot be living like this. But I was making a couple of $100 a month, but that also wasn't paying nobody's bills. If you know anything about the cost of living in Atlanta, Georgia, it was crazy high. And so I took all the money that I had saved up from when I was in school and all the money that I saved up from when my job had closed. And I packed up my stuff in the beginning of July of 2020, and I moved my ass to Charlotte, North Carolina, where I had no friends, no network. And I was like, I'm gonna go isolate myself away from everybody, and I'm really gonna dig in and try and make this business stuff shake. Like, I want to see what would happen. It was also the last month that I stopped applying for jobs that were in my field. And so I stopped applying for corporate positions. I got off of the LinkedIn job search. I got off of Indeed, and I was like, I made a couple of $100 this month. I'm gonna try this. And within a year of me making that decision, not even a year yet, I started bringing in 5 figures a month doing design, had raised my prices, had changed my branding, and had connected to an entirely new audience. But most importantly, I built a business that I loved and I was obsessed with. I think the thing that people fail to realize is that running a successful business and what that means for your life is different for everybody. For me, I like the fact that my friends can call me at 1 p.m. and be like, hey girl, you hungry? Like, I want to go out to lunch, and I can stop whatever I'm doing at my desk and I can go eat with my friends. I like the fact that now I have the freedom in my schedule that instead of spending all day on my computer designing for clients, I can take 4 clients a month and I can dedicate all my extra hours in a month to teaching kids like me who didn't learn how to design. I didn't learn how to design until I was in college, but I can teach kids, okay, I want to teach design. I want to show people how to design. I want to be able to do non-traditional things with my time. That isn't me being tethered to my business and or tethered to my traditional job, 40 some hours a week, miserable, tired, and ready to go work anywhere that was not a restaurant and my desk. And so it comes down to, how did I go from working 40 plus hours a week and making less than $1,500 a month to extremely limited work hours? I work about maybe 4 hours a day and 5-figure months. And I only work 4 days a week. So are you all ready to learn how I went from 3 to 5-figure months in less than a year? We're about to get it kicked off. And first things first, the first secret is you all are doing entirely too much. Being good at everything does not make you best. And I think that is one of the biggest things that people struggle with. So most people think that by narrowing down their niche and audience, that they're making themselves inaccessible and throwing away money. So how many people have ever felt that way? Have ever felt like, oh, if I say I'm only working with these type of people, or oh, I only say that I serve these type of people, or I'm only looking for this type of thing, they felt like they were losing out on money by getting really, really specific in who their products were for and who they were working for. Drop a 1 in the chat if you've ever felt like that. Okay, we got some ones coming through. I felt the exact same way. I was extremely hesitant to narrow down my design niche to, initially I went to millennial entrepreneurs, because initially I was serving everybody, and I was like, no, I want to serve people like me. I want to serve millennial entrepreneurs. And I was so hesitant to want to narrow that down. And then I was like, on design projects, I really just want to work with women. Okay, I want to work just in rebrand. And now eventually in the next year or so, I said, I want to pivot and just work in beauty branding. All of these things brought me more money than losing it. And so yeah, initially you saw some clients, but I also think the thing is, like I said, I was a general designer and I was doing flyers and I was making logos and motion graphics. Doing all of those services at the beginning of January of 2021, I eliminated the majority of my available services. I went from about maybe 10 available services to 4. You can only work with me in 4 ways, none of which were flyers and graphics. By doing that, I was like, damn, I just lost my entire client base. Like, that is what people work with me for. Very shortly after, I started making several $1,000s a month, because by niching down, I was able to really connect with my audience and charge premium pricing for what I was doing. They also think that by marketing every skill and service, you are increasing your earning potential. So if you're good at everything, or your business does everything, or you're in e-commerce branding, you do everything, do you think that by marketing every single thing that you're capable of doing, you think that you're increasing your earning potential? Drop a 1 in the chat if you feel that way. So for me, like I said, I was a makeup artist child. I did flyers, I did motion graphics, I did invitations, I did logos, literally everything. And I thought that was increasing my earning potential. And then I realized The secret is the more people you attempt to serve and the wider variety of services that you offer, the less sought after your expertise becomes. If I'm the girl that's good at flyers and motion graphics and I sell notebooks and I do makeup, why do y'all, who's gonna assume that I am the best of the best when I am the shit, when I am that girl at branding, when I do all of this stuff? How have I shown that I have had time to really niche down and perfect this expertise? By attempting to serve all of these different people, by attempting to serve nonprofits in this type of business, in this type of business, I lose my specialty. I lose my ability to show that I rock in this one area and that I am the go-to person. So if you find yourself struggling with really establishing yourself as a go-to person, you might be doing too much. You might be trying to serve too many different types of people. You might be trying to offer too many different types of services. You really need to niche down. And it is okay to be passionate about a lot of things, right? This does not mean that your passion has to go away, but who you serve and how you express and how you monetize, most importantly, those passions does have to shift. So we're going to talk about the power of control you have in defining your ideal audience members and who you want to serve and what you want to offer. I call this the 3 Ps. It is a part of my 5W framework, but the 3 Ps in defining your ideal audience members means personality, problems, and purpose. First things first is you really want to get in depth about the core personality of your ideal audience members. You should know every goddamn thing about them. I gave them a name. I treat it like Sims character. They have names, they have personalities, they have relationship statuses. So if you're in a relationship, in my ideal audience members, I have that written down to me. I have the relationship status, and I really sat and I curated this person inside of my own head. And I used to literally keep a sticky note on my desk. Pardon my jack, that sticky note thing. I used to keep a sticky note on my desk that had all of these traits of my ideal consumer. I'm like, okay, her name is Solana. She's not in a relationship right now. She's a single girl, but she is looking, you know, she lives in a major metropolitan city. She doesn't have any kids, but she does have a fur baby. His name is Marshmallow. Why I named it Marshmallow, I don't know, I thought it was cute. Every single detail I could know about this person, the same way you think about when you're befriending people in real life and you want to know all these favorite things. I knew my ideal audience member's favorite colors. And I designed this person because I was in control of who I wanted to serve. And when you start a business, most people take like, oh, I'll just take whoever I can get who wants to work in my business. Or I'll just take whoever I can get who wants to buy from me. And that, no, that's not how you do it. You don't have to take whatever you can get and whoever is out there. You get to be in control of what the traits of that person are, of what their day-to-day life looks like. Decide that for yourself and then go out and find those people. And that's how you build a stronger ideal audience member, and that's how you get in front of them. Because everything you do will be intentionally targeting that person that you designed. When I write my content for Solana and people like Solana. I don't write my content for Bob, Billy Bo, and George, who are 55, 16, and 42. I don't write my content specifically for them. I write for Solana, who is a millennial entrepreneur on this journey. From there, we need to talk about what problems they're having. So now that we've established the personality points they have, we know exactly what personality is like, we need to understand what problems is Solana having. Solana is short on time. Solana has started a business and she is exhausted. Solana is still working her 9 to 5. Solana is tired of Instagram. She don't want to be on there no more. I had to identify all of the key problems that my audience members were having. I needed to know every single thing that they were facing in their day-to-day life so I could then figure out what my purpose was. And my purpose ultimately was to solve those problems for Solana. I'm here to solve Solana's problems. You need to be in control of the personalities that you are attracting, understanding what problems that they are having so you can establish your niche from that. So if you know, I want to serve this type of person and they're really having issues with branding. So for me, I was making logos, but I wasn't doing full brand identity kits. And I realized I wanted people who wanted the whole thing. So I needed to figure out, okay, my ideal audience members, I'm giving them these logos, but their businesses aren't doing and performing as well as they should. Therefore, there's a bigger problem here. And I have to figure out and establish what that larger problem was. And for me, it was, okay, they don't have complete brand identity and they don't have core messaging, which means no matter how nice this one logo is, they're missing so many other parts of the branding process. And I need to set myself up to solve that problem. So I'm going to become an expert and establish myself in full brand identity. And I only do full brand identity. You cannot come to me, oh, I just want one logo. I don't do that. That's not the problem I solved, because ultimately I realized as a brand designer that one singular logo wasn't going to solve the problem and wasn't going to give their brand any sustainable growth. And I wasn't interested in doing half-ass work and getting half-ass results. I wanted my clients to be making six-figure bags. If I'm going to be charging multiple four figures to even work with me, to even get on a call with me, I need my clients to see that return on investment, which means they need more than just one logo. They need full brand identity. They need all their core messaging. And it was so much easier to sell that to people and make them understand that when I've identified exactly who I'm serving and exactly what their problems are, because I can speak directly to their problems. Think about when we started this webinar and I'm calling out to you, have you ever experienced this? Have you ever experienced this? Is this the life you want for yourself? That's because I've done research and figured out what you all in the audience, what your core problem as business owners are having. And I designed this webinar around you all's core problems so I can answer them and then display value and help show my own expertise in this field. The second major secret is confused consumers do not convert, which means you need to set your tone and set your visuals and you need to stick to it. So let me know. Most people think that by using on-trend content templates, yes, I am talking about those text message reminder templates from Canva. To use those, I'm talking about you. They think that makes their brand more attractive to audience members because it looks cohesive. So who thinks that using traditional Canva templates makes their brand look more attractive because they have an aesthetic Instagram? Drop a 1 in the chat if you felt that way. No one? Okay, I see y'all. I bet not. I didn't look on, I got everybody's social media page. I've been looking y'all up on social media. I bet not see them Canva templates on nobody's page, because then I know y'all lying in this webinar. So the other thing is, most people think that you should pick your brand colors and style based on what you like and works well for other people. So when you were picking your brand's colors, if you even pick brand colors, did you pick them based on what you liked? So did you pick, okay, this is my favorite color, I really like this. Is that how you all picked your brand colors? I was gonna use Canva for PowerPoint slides. I'm gonna talk about how y'all can really finesse Canva. We're gonna talk about that. But a common thing that comes up all the time with my clients is people saying like, oh, I want this color. I want always pink. I want pink, especially in the hair industry. I want glitter. And I'm like, why? And they're like, oh, because I just really like pink. And I'm like, and that's it. Like, why do you like pink? Nobody ever thinks about the psychology of colors. And there's science behind all of these things. So when you're choosing brand colors, you need to make sure you're choosing your colors based on what's going to be effective and communicate to your audience the way you want to be. So the secret is attracting an audience is about understanding the science of the subconscious. You really need to understand how people's brains work, how little slight things impact people's impressions of you before you even said a word. And so we were talking about people's online presence down here. Their level of expertise is up here. Why is that? Because they're not presenting themselves as experts online. So if we think back to my OG website, I had everything was based around wanting it to look like an eclipse, right? I was obsessed with natural phenomenon. All my packages are named that way. My packages are still named that way. But my colors are these bold, it was like a bright yellow, a bright blue. And I love the way, like, it looks like space, but it did not give off the vibe that I ultimately wanted my brand to give off. And so I ended up, at some point, I bounced back. I said, you know what? I'm gonna make my colors a little bit more pastel. And then when I did my major rebrand a couple months ago, I was like, I'm changing my fonts. I'm going to tans and whites with light purple accents because this presents itself. This is so much cleaner. This is so much more minimalist. This is so much closer to my native style than everything else I've done in the past. This aligns with who I am. So when people come across my content or they get to my website, they are learning things about me and my brand before they have read a word of copy on that page, before they have learned anything about me. They're getting subconscious ideas about me. They're okay. My website looks extremely clean, it looks extremely mature, and it looks extremely professional, as opposed to my bold, bright colors where things were flipping, dipping, spinning all around. I got rid of all of that because it did not give off the professional vibe that I wanted to give off. And I realized, as someone who was very young in my industry, I needed to present myself not as a 21-year-old, which is how old I was when I did one of my first websites, but as an expert, as a branding expert who has years of experience. My website did not look like somebody with years of experience. It looked like a 21-year-old who thought this color was cute and But I was like, I think these fonts look cute together, and I'm gonna go with that. And it was so ineffective because it wasn't presenting the idea. So I had to go and I chose all new fonts. I was so intentional. I looked up what fonts mean. I looked up different font types. I learned everything there was to know about color theory and color psychology. And I established my brand colors and my branding and my fonts based around what the subconscious mind would perceive before I had to say a word, because I wanted to give myself a leg up and I wanted to eliminate the amount of work and legwork that I had to do with my brand and the amount of convincing that I had to do. I want people to get on calls with me, ready to pay a deposit, ready to go. I want people to get to my website, ready to check out. Is your website checkout ready? Is your content checkout ready? Or is it what you thought was cute and there's no science and data behind it? And then our last secret, secret number 3, or one of our most important secrets, is that you cannot outsmart the algorithm. The algorithm is biased. We were not there when it was designed, and we as content creators were not in mind at that. That algorithm is designed to make Instagram, TikTok, Twitter money, which means no, they're not going to push your content. Is your content making Instagram money? No, but if you pay, they might boost it, right? So that entire algorithm is designed at increasing Instagram's bottom line and is not designed for everyday creators, which means there is no amount of, oh, I can post this much, no amount of, unless you want to pay, there is no amount of things you can do to seemingly outsmart the algorithm. So most people think, and I know you all have seen those posts about all of Instagram's changes, they think if you post the right amount of things at the right time in the right mixture of content, the algorithm will push your content. Drop a 1 in the chat if you felt or seen those posts about people talking about, oh, I need to do this. You need to post 3 reels a day, post on your story this many times a day. Okay, so y'all be seeing it, Exactly, Wednesday, 8 a.m., 10 a.m., what times? Or you gotta post 3 times a day, or don't post 3 times a day. Y'all, them people do not know. They do not know. They do not work at Instagram and they do not know. They are trying to increase their own bottom line by making you follow them, thinking that they're giving you tips and tricks, when in reality, they do not know. Nobody knows. So stop stressing yourself out trying to follow these arbitrary content rules that at the end of the day will not change anything about your business. Who thinks that if they get a lot of followers or if they happen to go viral, especially with the growth of TikTok, people think that a virality-based approach will increase their followers and that'll give their brand what they need for long-term sustainability? So how many people in the chat have ever just wished that they could get a post to go viral, or they see people go viral and blow up? All right, let's talk about the last secret and what it really is. Long-term growth is about layered community building. What does that mean? So we have to talk about the essential elements of building your brand and how that establishes a community that allows you to have long-term sustainable growth on social media, as well as on your own platforms that you own, and not just you're at the mercy of whatever the developers decide to do their thing. So it is a mixture of having a cohesive visual identity, a clear brand vision, established mood and messaging, and a clear content implementation plan. Once you have the outside parts of your circle, we then talk about creating intentional graphics with social cohesion, proper positioning in front of your ideal audience members, and the 5 W's. I'm going to break down my 5 W's framework for you all. The first W is, what do you do? Your second W is, why do you do it? Third W is, who do you serve? Fourth W is, what problem do you solve? And fifth W is, who is your competitors? If you can answer those 5 W's, you can position yourself properly in front of your ideal audience members and you can build a profitable business. But all of those things have to work together and you have to be able to answer all of them. The key to really activating your brand and getting long-term growth is sustainable, high-value content, which means I do not care if my page looks aesthetically pretty. I could make my feed look stunning if I wanted to. I could. My page should look beautiful. I don't care to do it. Why would I waste my time making my content just, oh, I just want everything to look super pretty and I want like covers and everything and aesthetics? That doesn't make me any more money, because all those posts, or when you need to talk about, oh, you need all these filler posts for your feed. All those filler posts providing any value to your audience members. What are your audience members gaining by you having an aesthetic Instagram? What are they getting from that? What benefit are they getting? What problem did you solve? None. Your ultimate goal as a brand owner should be to establish value to your audience members. If you can position yourself properly, you can decide who you want your audience to be, and you can establish clear value to them via educational content or just style content, any of that, you can build a sustainable long-term community. Going viral will not help you in the long term. Brands go viral all the time and then they think they don't have to do anything else because they got a bunch of followers and they crash and burn because why am I still following you? What do I gain from following this page? What do I get? You can post a lot less often when what you post is valuable. I don't post every day. I don't even get on Instagram every day. I post 3 times a week max, generally 2 to 1. But I'm almost booked for the full year. I made $12,000 in a month. Because everything that I post, or the majority of what I post, is valuable. Now, if you want to mix in some fun content, I'll be having fun with my reels. You mix in some fun content in there, but the ultimate goal for you will be solving your audience's problems and providing high value content so that they can see the perks of working with you. So some action items for you all to take from this webinar. It's the first thing I want to do is create a targeted ideal audience member. Specific. I want names, hobbies, vices, habits. If they were stuck on a desert island, only had 3 things, what are they taking with them? All of that stuff should be clear, clean, cut, and established. From there, I need you to develop a content schedule that you can maintain long-term. Not that everybody else, that you can maintain long-term. Filled with high-value content, filled with visually branded content, on brand, not 15 different templates slapped together that look like 6 different brands. You need to decide what your visual identity will be and make sure that's repeated in every single thing you do online. And lastly, develop an off social media platform and focus your growth goals there. If all you have is social media accounts and an okay website, you're doing your brand a disservice. Instagram can shut down tomorrow. What would you do? You got all of those followers and then Instagram shut down. You don't have a mailing list. You haven't brought your audience to your website. They have no place to connect with you outside of these social media platforms that you have no true control over. So develop an off social media platform and start establishing yourself and your brand there, getting your audience to come with you someplace else so you're not at the mercy of the algorithm. So let's recap. How did I go from 3 to 5? Oh goodness. How did I go from 3 to 5 figure months in less than a year? First things first, I niched down my offerings and target audience so that I shined in my specific field. People know I am the fairy godbrander, and people in my field know I'm the fairy godbrander. They know that if my name is behind some brand name, somebody that made some money behind that. My clients see their ROI, they see the return on investment, and they see beautiful, stunning brands that work. Next up, I developed a signature high quality content style that aligned across the board to make myself highly recognizable. When people see my content come across the feed, they usually know it's mine. It all looks very similar. It is all on brand. I have the exact hex codes that I use on every post, an exact style, all of that. That is me, and I have a consistent style that I can keep up with. I have a tone of voice that I use. I talk like myself at all times. I do not have a poised and polished business voice. You will never get that from me. The same way that I talk on this webinar, the same way that I talk on my calls, the same way that I talk on my Instagram story and my lives, the same way that I talk on my Twitter voice notes, the same way that I type my emails. All of that stuff is in my brand voice and in my brand visual identity. And last things last, I stopped focusing on vanity metrics. I don't care about how many followers I have. I don't care about how many likes the post gets. I want to know, did this post convert into a potential client? Did the call to action in this caption get somebody on my mailing list? Did this call to action get somebody to book me? Did this call to action get somebody to sign up for my webinar? Did this get somebody to want to learn more from me, or want to buy from me, or want to interact with me and engage with me in some long-term sustainable way outside of just a follow and a like? I don't care about follows and likes. I don't care if my post gets 2 likes. If it converted, if that person joined my mailing list, then that's a successful post to me. That is the key to building a long-term sustainable high value, high revenue brand. So is this helpful to y'all so far? Give me a yes in the chat if it is. Yes, okay, yes. Love that. So we're gonna head on to a little bit more. So I'm gonna recap the secrets for y'all and then we'll get into the next part. So first things first, specialization leads to easy expert positioning. You specialize in your field, you specialize your offerings, you specialize what products you sell. Very easy to position yourself as an expert. Number two, attracting an audience is about understanding the science of the subconscious. Stop focusing on what you like and dislike and focus heavily on what is going to convert and attract people on a subconscious level. And third, long-term growth is about building a community. Leave vanity metrics and fist fighting the algorithm behind and focus on fostering a true community of people who are interested in engaging with you, your content, your brand, and that is how you set yourself up for long-term growth and not temporary, oh, I got 5 sales this day or 10 sales or maybe 100 sales this day and the next day nobody is talking about your brand anymore and you've wasted your time. So I know you joined this masterclass because you have either created a ton of content, you aren't getting the likes and shares you need to make the sales you want because your content isn't converting and your audience isn't sharing it. You know and see that other people on Instagram have these cute, successful brands, but nothing is turning out the way that you envisioned it. You are tired of constantly experimenting with your branding and business and still not being satisfied. And you're tired of having a website or social media that you are embarrassed to share. You're finally ready to successfully and strategically monetize your skills and passion, have a premium and polished brand that makes you look reputable and attracts your ideal audience, and have a brand that communicates your value so your audience members can't wait to work with and or purchase from you. Does that sound like things that y'all would like in the long term? They're things that I like. But like I said, I also like working 4 hours a day. So I do what it takes to make that happen. So it takes most new and aspiring entrepreneurs years and lots of mistakes and lots of money, especially if you are purchasing every $47 workbook from an influencer on TikTok. I get that. I've been there. Okay, she went viral, so I'm gonna get her workbook on how she blew up on TikTok, and I'm gonna get her workbook on how she did this, I'm gonna get her workbook on how she did this, and now I have all these $47 workbooks, and I am Frankensteining strategy together instead of figuring out what plan works for me. Because on the real, about everybody's business, what works for everybody else is not going to work for you. Brand strategy is about developing a plan that is specific to your brand, based on your brand's needs, your audience's needs, and your ultimate goals for growth. So I have created a system that will help take your brand from stressful and stagnant to premium and polished in about 3 months. Because you deserve for your content to look like this. I made a post. This is what my engagement looks like. This is authentic engagement. People in my community want to talk to me. They want to comment on my posts. They want to hold conversations about what I'm saying. And most importantly, it resonates with them, which means, yep, they felt that. You don't want just hard eyes and all that stuff. You want people engaging and agreeing and wanting to talk and hold conversations with you. That should be the ultimate goal of your content, right? So the process that I developed allowed me to go from this, and I like to be real people. I like to give people real numbers so they can see, because anybody can get on the internet and claim, oh, I've made this type of money, or I did this and that type of time, and anybody can get on the internet and lie. I mean, people can Photoshop things, but I screenshotted my internal CRM system to show you all. October 2020, I walked away with $990, and that was the first month where I was like, you know what, y'all, like, I can take this serious for real, like almost to the band. I can do this. To June of 2021, walking away with $12,493. And I didn't even realize that I'd made that much money until I went back into my system. I thought that I had hit my 5-figure mark. I'm like, oh, I hit like 10. I went back and looked. I said, maybe I hit 12. And it's only gone up from there, right? But that's because I have a strategic process that allows me to do that. So I want to tell you all a bit about the Phenomenal Brand Accelerator. It is a program, a 3-month program that I developed that has 6 modules to cover everything you need to build a premium brand. We have workbooks, trainings, and tutorials, 2 live coaching calls a month so that you can execute these things clearly, strategically, and quickly. and lifetime access to the PBA community, where you can network and get feedback from other brand owners who more likely than not will become your audience in your business network. So how do you know if this program is for you? It's for you if you have a desire to build a solid long-term growth strategy for your brand. You're trying to monetize your passion into a sustainable income source, and you're a creative content creator or service-based entrepreneur. It's not for you if you're looking for a quick and dirty fix to social media woes. If you just want to figure out how to blow up on Instagram quickly, this course is not for you. Developing a strategy is not for you. And more likely than not, you're going to lose so many things on your brand by just focusing on that. If you're content with your current stage and you aren't looking for any new growth, not for you. And if you focus solely on e-commerce sales and have like if you have an in-person store, that's one thing. But if you're solely online e-commerce sales, PBA is also not for you. I may have some for e-commerce in the future, but PBA, not for you. So in the first module, we'll talk about brand audit, and we'll start from the ground up with your foundation. We'll talk about my 5 W's method. You'll have an entire workbook that you will work through that will get us in depth in building out your strategy. If you don't have strategy set as your foundation first, if you don't have a brand foundation set, all of your visuals, all of that doesn't matter. You need your strategy first. From there, we have module 2, and you'll learn the psychological associations we have with colors and how to use that to prime your audience to want to work with you over your audience embrace. So we will be breaking down mood boards, we'll be breaking down color theory, we'll be breaking down color psychology, we'll be breaking down font guidelines, what different fonts mean, how they work, and how to cohesively bring that together to develop a clean and smooth visual identity that grabs your audience's attention before you've even said a word to them. From there, I will give you all an overview tutorial of how to use Photoshop so that you can create high quality assets and leave Canva behind, right? You can only get so unique building in Canva. So the entire purpose of this is to teach you how to use Photoshop and how to really take the software to the next level. Module 4 is actually Canva Basics. I have taught this course twice before, and I realized that some of my audience members really wanted to learn how to just take Canva to the next level. Photoshop is not for everybody. And while I do encourage everybody to use Photoshop, I want people to be able to create scroll stopping content, even if it's in Canva. And so we then have an in-depth Canva tutorial so that you can learn how to create the same thing with Photoshop that you can create in Canva and vice versa. From there, we talk about content implementation. You'll learn all my secrets to implementing your branding. We will talk about how to build content calendars, content schedules. We will help to show you how to develop content pillars so that you can create quick and easy content with a fraction of the time and work. And then module 6 is another new unit that I added in, which is web strategy. I want you all to learn how to build high value sites that actually convert your audience so people don't stop dipping off. They see your site. I tell people all the time, I'm a site snob. If I get to your site and it looks a mess, or I feel like it's not speaking directly to me, it looks like a basic template, I'm gonna leave. I'll spend my money elsewhere. And so I'm gonna show you how to build an intentional site that you will be proud of. But wait, there's a lot more with all our action-packed bonuses. So in addition to getting the 6 weeks of teaching, you will get a brand audit workbook, which is the exact workbook that I give to my clients when I'm working with them, that we have them work through on our strategy call. I've taken all of the questions that I ask my clients when I'm building for them, and I have designed it into a beautiful workbook for you to fill out and then be able to keep so that you can communicate it clearly with anybody you bring on in the future. From there, you'll also get my mood and brand board templates. And so you don't have to focus on always trying to remember like, oh, what colors did I use for this? And what did I do for that, right? You'll have this booklet, PDF booklet, that'll have all the information that you need to build in there. In addition, you'll also get customizable Canva templates that I've designed for you all in generally my minimalist style, just so you can get started immediately with bringing your polished brand to life and still looking unique from everybody else. All of those, if sold individually, run for about $250 a piece. So the ultimate value of all these bonuses is an additional $750, right? If you sign up and you pay in full, there is an additional free training valued at $150, where I will show you how to create a custom links page using Canva, so you can not only control your data, but you can keep your brand recognition off social. I know a lot of people use Linktree, and to do customized Linktree really the way you want it to look for your brand, and to customize and see audience analytics, you have to pay an upcharge. I'm going to show you how to do it for free using Canva and data tracking software. And so you'll be able to do that for free. That additional training is valued at $150. and then take everything you're getting with the modules and all the bonuses. You also get 3 months of bi-weekly coaching with extra access from me so that you can show up consistently. Most people will take this out, figure it out on their own, go for it, that. And you can do that. All of that's possible, but it's a lot better when you have a designer in your back pocket who you can come to twice a month on live calls and ask whatever questions you want. To book 2 live calls with me a month for my clients, to be able to work with me, to be able to get me on a call, you're looking at $3,000 value. So you get that all wrapped up in the value of the course. These are just some testimonials from a few of my students from past PBA rounds. A few of them are in the audience, so if you're in there, if you're a past PBA student and you're in there, say hey. But Carlisha started PBA in our first round. She is now killing it in creating her content. She's solely using Photoshop now for her content, and she finally hit 1,400 followers in her branding. Yes, hey Carlisha, yes girl, that's you. We also have Shablis. Shablis works a full-time job at a tech company and is able to now start building her own copywriting agency outside of that. And instead of having to kind of piece together how she's gonna do a brand, she got walked through every single step that she needed to build a strong hosted brand. So when she launches, she will have had every single thing she needs. So I know sometimes people have this fear of starting, like, oh, I'm doing something else, I'm not ready yet. I have a loose idea. Shablis came into the course with, I wanna be a copywriter. And outside of that, I don't know what else I'm doing. I just know I want to be a copywriter, and we were able to build her entire brand together. We also have Jenna. Jenna is a systems professional. She works in systems and operations, and she herself is like, I'm not designing creativity oriented, but with the stuff she learned in PBA, she was able to design a brand identity that not only she loved and was confident in, but allow her audience to develop trust in her business and easily identify her content. So she didn't have to keep putting all this extra work to establish herself. Her content started doing it for her. And we have Richard, who I know for a fact is in here. He is one of our newest students in our most recent round. And he got to build a brand. He was confident. He's a photographer. And instead of spending all this time, again, Frankensteining content together and figuring out what to do, he got walked through step by step by step. So this is, PBA is an exclusive group. I do not accept a lot of students each round. I keep it limited because I don't want to be overwhelmed in trying to help out too many people at once. It's very important for me to make sure that everybody gets the full amount of attention that they need. And so I'm only accepting people who are willing to work hard and invest to get their desired results over the next 3 months and potentially longer. We have options like if you want to stay longer and get more coaching calls, but I really want people who are invested in the ultimate growth of their business, because I can give you all the tools and tricks you need, but you have to be willing to implement them. One of the reasons that instead of this being a 6-week program like it formerly was, that I decided to change it to a 3-month program is because after you've gone through all the modules, I wanted people to be able to come back and get help as they were implementing this. This isn't just a, oh, I'm going to follow this booklet, I'm going to do everything, and then tomorrow I'm going to wake up and my brand's going to be perfect. No, it requires work, it requires consistency, and I want to make sure that people had help throughout that entire process. So this is a summary of everything that you get with PBA. You have workbooks with all these in-depth questions. You have 6 weeks of modules, live modules, 3 weeks of live coaching, access to the Facebook group, access to the brand identity guide that breaks down what's a primary logo, what's an alternate logo, what are they all used for, how do I use them, how do I implement them, and then a huge network of other designers and other brand owners to get feedback from as well, because nobody wants to be in an echo chamber and one person's opinion, my opinion alone, does not matter for your brand, right? You need to be able to hear from other people. Okay, cool. Like, let me drop this in the chat. Let me drop this in the group and see what everybody else thinks. Let me get other people's opinions on it, right? So let's talk about what the investment is. For all of the value you're getting, which is well over a $4,000 value of things you're getting in the program, for either a one-time fee of $100 or $450, you get 3 months access to the program, 2 monthly coaching calls, a members-only community, 3 bonuses, and an additional free training. Or you can break it down and do 2 payments of $250, 3 months access to the program, 2 months coaching calls, members-only community, those same 3 bonuses, you just won't get the additional free training. And so where do you want to be 6 weeks from today?
Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
Like, do you want to be embarrassed that you wasted another 6 weeks, 3 months, year fighting and Frankensteining content? Or I tell people all the time, right? I spent all day working on these webinar slides, trying to find a meme for this page. Because I was like, what really represents, like, what does life look like for people when their brand grows up? And then I decided to leave it blank because I wanted to ask in the chat, what does having a successful and sustainable brand mean for you all? And I really want you all to answer, what does that look like? Because for me, like I said, for me, I like being able to go out to eat with my friends in the middle of the day. That may seem small and mundane to people, but you ever been a broke college student eating ramen? Or if you've ever worked a job where you were working 40-some hours a week and you could never see your friends, being able to see my friends in my own leisure whenever I want to, it's part of the reason that I get up and do what I do every day, right? That's what I wanted. Being able to teach kids in high school and in middle school brand design and not have to worry about either burning myself out to do so or not having time. That's what I do this for. And so drop in the chat, what does your life look like with a sustainable business? What if you hit a 5-figure month, you made $10,000 in 1 month in your business, what would you do? What was the first thing that you would do? Work from different cities. I cannot wait to do that. Have a space designated to creating a successful brand is one of more freedom and connect and help more Black femmes overcome mental health issues. Love that. It is about 20-some of y'all in here. Come on. I know some of y'all been sitting in the back quiet. We invest back into the business. That is a major one. That is something that I spend a lot of time doing. I think as women of color or people of color, we are often taught that we have to do everything by ourselves. And one of my biggest goals and learning lessons as growing this business was I did not have to do all of this by myself. I could ask for help. I could get help where I needed it. And so for me, I invest out a lot into my business. I hire copywriters and I hire systems and ops people because I want to have my freedom, and having that money allows me to have that type of freedom with my business. Save for grad school. Yes, girl. I'm saving for school too. Focus more on art than quick return on investment projects. I feel that is one of the biggest reasons I cut out all my small flyer projects, is because I couldn't do it and I wasn't doing work that I loved. I didn't, if you've ever seen any of the flyers I created, they were nice, they were cool, but I hated making them. I did not think that they were interesting. And the projects that I get to do now with clients, I recently got to work on a project with one of the retired vice presidents from Coca-Cola hired me. She started a nonprofit to give grants to small business owners. And I got to work on that project, and that was so fulfilling, because now that the grant has been launched and she has started giving all this money to other small business owners, I'm like, wow, like I got to be a part of that project because I had the bandwidth to give to it. Or I sit on the board of a nonprofit based out of Fayetteville called the to5 Project, and I get to do all of their content and branding, and I get to work for free because my business sustains me. So I get to dedicate so many hours of my week to actually benefiting somebody else and doing good work. And for me, that was really, really important. That's what $10,000 a month means for me. And it's okay if you don't, I talk about it all the time, it's okay if you don't have like these big, vast, like feel good projects, because I promise y'all, at the end of this year, I'm buying a bag. I want a bag. Like, and sometimes it means that it's getting to buy the things that I want to buy when I want to buy them. It's getting to spend my time how I want to spend my time. I value time freedom more than anything. It's not having to get cussed out by customers who are mad that there's a 2-hour wait at the restaurant I work at. That is what it was for me. And so, like I said, are you going to join us in PBA? Welcome to PBA, where your every desire will be fulfilled, right? We're going to build this. We're going to make this happen for y'all. And so if you're interested in joining the Phenomenal Brand Accelerator, I will be dropping the link in the chat, but it'll also go out in your email. These are the instructions for how you enroll and register in PBA. So you select your option once you get to the website. You complete registration and you obtain instant access to week 1 of the material. The material is dripped out for you in 6 weeks. What I did not want to happen is people to try and rush through all 6 weeks of material at once. And so every week a new unit is released to you all, one from when you join. And like I said, after the 6 weeks are up with the live content, you then get